It's a 3-minute presentation using only one slide. The slide is supposed to encompass the essence of what your talk is about. It is for a non-specialist and a lay audience. It is an opportunity to share your research globally. So before we begin, maybe I should show you a 3MT so you can actually see what it looks like.
Imagine running the 400-meter dash, but you're holding your breath underwater, can't touch the bottom, tightly surrounded by 7 people doing the same. Now smile. Make it look effortless.
She presents to perfection, keep a special eye on the construction of her story. It is a research story after all. Whatever her mannerisms, her movements, her tone, everything right down to her PowerPoint slide. So give it a watch, and it will explain what a 3MT is. First and foremost, though, it's a great exercise for when you're thinking about scholarship and grant applications. What's one of the number one things you have to usually concentrate on when you're writing a scholarship application? What is the impact? Why does this matter? So the 3MT is all about that. You get to network within your research community over at SFU. There are the faculty heats, which is just an amazing chance to talk to people who are maybe in a lab right next door to you, or potentially you've seen them once or twice in a class but never spoke to them again. What are they actually researching? What are they doing? Great opportunity to learn from one another. You could add it to your CV. It looks good. It's an internationally recognized competition. So you mentioned that you participated in the 3MT even at the faculty heat level. That's a gold star. If you make it to the finals, there's the audience, so much bigger audience. This year it's going to take place over at the Surrey campus, which is really exciting because we're hoping to open the doors to a lot more members from the public. But then there's also the online audience, and then there's the nice little videos that you get always. That's always a video that will be out there, and you could just share that link with anybody. Good opportunity. Also, you get to, if you move forward, those are free travel days for you that of course we would pay. Even if you do place in the top 2 in Canada, we do send students down to the States. So 2 years ago when Saif Nayani won he was runner-up in Canada, we were able to send him over to Washington, D.C. to present over at the Council of Graduate Studies. So in the skill development phase, there are lots of workshops we are offering. I'll show you those dates one more time. So there are those, but also they're transferable skills. So even if you're not doing it to do a 3MT, it works really well. Like learning these skills for, short 5-minute conference presentation, things like that. But if you become a finalist, we do a lot of work from what you do at your heats to the finals themselves. So peer-to-peer feedback and workshops. I'm also bringing in a new knowledge mobilization piece for scholarship and grant applications from 3MT to grant. You do need to be a current SFU student. Thesis, course-based, professional, capstone project, anything. I mean, you all do research, from a smaller scale to a much larger scale. But we do encourage all students from any faculty department program that they can participate in a 3MT. However, only thesis-based or dissertation, of course, PhD students are able currently to move to the Western Regionals. As long as you haven't officially convocated, but if you handed in your thesis and haven't applied for convocation, you're still good to go. The Western Regionals are usually held in May. So even the convocation is in June, so you're still okay to go to the Western Regionals. And I don't believe there are any restrictions on the national level. As long as you were a student when you started the 3MT. In order to compete in the finals, however, you do need to attend your faculty heat. We also have the graduate studies wildcard, so it is open to anybody. If you weren't able to make your heat, then you can join ours, or once again, if your faculty is not running their own, you can join ours. And heat winners will move on to the finals. So 3MT criteria. This is what the judges are essentially looking for based on the rubric. It's divided up into a few categories: communication style, comprehension, so that's more of that content, and then general kind of engagement. Important pieces over with communication style: significance, what is the impact of what you're doing, jargon, and when I say no jargon, you can use some jargon, but please don't use a lot of jargon, and don't use unexplained jargon. So, just be mindful of that. You want to keep it at like a grade 9, grade 10 level, even that's slightly pushing it, or whatever that level even means anymore. But you want to make sure it's accessible to anybody. So here are some opportunities to participate. I did not put the finals on here, so my apologies, but the finals for 2025 over at SFU are April 10th. It's going to be an evening-ish affair, so 5:30 to 7:30, April 10th. And if you are a finalist, you have to be in person and present. So there are some workshops. Many who are probably seeing this video have signed up for them already. So there's the part 1 workshop, which is really taking some concentrated time to work on that all important opening hook, catching them right at the beginning, that first 30 seconds. And then part 2, which is, about the time management of a 3MT. What sort of things should you do and when? What is the construction of a typical 3MT? How to organize your content, and then work on the slide and a bit of delivery style. The slide and the title are actually really tricky. Even though you're not judged on the title and the slide work together. And you are slightly judged on the slide too. Slide can actually make or break, so we will spend time in part 2 on that as well. And for the part 1 and part 2, they are in person and they are not going to be recorded. And I mean this sincerely. If you're watching this video, you can reach out to me. My contact will be on the next slide. And follow up. I can run through these quick little workshops with you if you'd like. Just kind of explain a few additional details, about half an hour or so, if you can't make it to part 1 and part 2 in person. But I am joined with the wonderful Research Commons librarian, Julie Jones, who does tons of, competency-driven workshops. Like, she is in the office on that 7th floor at the Bennett Library over on Burnaby campus. So she will have lots of additional resources and some advice for you. I was going through this, then I'm really excited for this new workshop with a colleague of mine who actually runs Science Slam, which is like a 3MT, but it's 5 minutes and there's props and it's you can do stand-up routines. It's very unique and different. So if you're curious about Science Slam and think that would be up your alley, I've also seen arts-based research in the Science Slam. So yes, they talk about science communication, but it is open to all disciplines. So if you're curious about that, you can check that out. But her and I will be hosting the session together, and this is that adding that je ne sais quoi, that extra little bit that makes your 3MT or presentation / short presentation really stand out. How do you brand yourself? How do you become really memorable? And so looking forward to that. Here are just some little tips, make you start percolating on what a 3MT is. And I said this before, but using minimal amounts of jargon. What is your jargon? Again, talk to other people that you don't talk to every single day. They'll tell you what jargon is when you're talking to them. Have a catchy opener, it makes a big difference. You hook them right at the beginning and they will be far more likely to stick with you all the way through. Um, don't bother introducing yourself. So many people feel like they need to start out being like, hi, and I'm so and so and so, and I'm here to talk to you about this. And you just wasted 20 seconds, and it's a nice introduction, but it's not a catchy opener. Consider your audience. This is the most important thing about knowledge mobilization and doing a 3MT. What should they know? What would they want to know? So really put yourselves in the audience shoes. You know why you love your work. I'm assuming you love your work still. You know what you find interesting. You remember why you wanted to start this work. Um, but they're coming at it from a different angle. There are lots of reasons of why somebody wants to engage with content, but try to think of the reason that they would. And lastly, be enthusiastic. What is underneath my head right now says, show that you care and others will too. Passionate advocacy for the important work you're doing comes across really beautifully. Feel free to reach out, shoot me an email. Um, Again, if you're not participating in a 3MT, that's okay. If not this year, next year, 3 years down the road, but start building these skills early. Your research, your confidence will thank you.